Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend, and I hope you all have a great week going forward. We're going to go ahead and jump into the next chapter in Weekly Shonen Jump, and that is World Trigger. And World Trigger does have a nice color page. I must say it's a very nice color page. And this is going to be Chapter 19, Tamakoma Branch. It's the name of it. I try and put the cover page in this review, but if I'm not able to, or at least partially able to, then I'll just use the my regular background for the time being. I'll maybe try to come up with a new one sooner or later. So we pick up from the story from where it left off last week with the question being asked for Kuga, and Jin wanting him to join Border. Okay, and well, that's a quick summary here. Is that basically what happened in this chapter is from where it left off last week with the question, will you join Border, and specifically our branch, the Tamakoma branch, in which they can offer protection against the other people who are going to come after his trigger, because it is a black trigger. And also there's questions asked about, okay, your father, and there's more detail into that, and who he came to see, who is this person in Border, and he does give his response, and at the very end, and Replica is gonna say why he's really here in the his real reason for being here, and it's okay. So we pick it up, and he's like, well, and Jen is like, well, I'm not taking him to headquarters. So he's asking him to join our branch. So, if you remember, their branch it's a smaller branch. There's only about 10 of them, and they're very different in this. Yeah, I mean, they have a 5-year old, and what is it like? Some kind of I should come up on it pretty soon. Um, but anyway, it's a bunch of us have been to the neighbor's world. Nobody will care if you're from there. Why don't you come check it out at least? Okay. He says, okay, I will if Asamo and Shika come too. So they all go to their branch, which is a building, their branch office. And that building it's a facility that was originally built to study the river, and Border bought it and made it into a base. So basically, you see it like on the piers. It's on the concrete piers, basically, and it's over the water. And the main building sits on piers in the water. So, it's yeah, it's that's interesting. For what for whatever that's worth, I just find it interesting. From an engineering standpoint. Okay, and continue on with the story. And it goes on, okay, the agent seemed to be out, but somebody should be here. And so we have here this, the youngest one, and this is I want to say, what, a guinea pig, or like a giant guinea pig. He's actually riding it. And this person is Taro Rendo, age 5. He's the child in residence. And you all have to see what he looks like, but it's pretty funny the face he's making when they come in. He's like, "Oh, some noobs." Okay, and Jen's telling him, "Hey, mind your manners, mind your manners." And okay, and we see another person. Her name is Shiori Usama, and she's age 17, and she's the Tamakoma operator. All right, and we see Cougar's asking, okay, do you have snacks? And she's like, let me check. Said we only have dorayaki. Okay, so that's the only thing they have, some dorayaki, which is um, is 2 pancakes with sweet bean bean paste in between. So that's what dorayaki is, okay? And they're having conversation there. Some of it is it's funny because the little one what's his name? Yatar Yotaro wants to take Kuga's dorayaki and he hits him. He gives him like a karate chop on his head. Says, "Sorry, kiddo. I'm interested in this dorayaki." Obviously. And what we have here is that Chica gives him hers, okay, and that big is like it's like a giant guinea pig. I mean, giant. It's like a dog size, and its name is Raijin Maru. Because little Yataro tells Chica that okay, for doing that, say you're cute. Let's get married. And if you marry me, you can pet Rajimaru's tummy. And he tries to tip him over. It, oh, that's pretty funny. Then Yuma goes ahead and tips him over, saying, they're basically trying to get the whole feel for everything for the border base and the people there. Um, and hold on, let me go back. Excuse me, one moment. One moment. And what Shiori's is noting that what she goes on explaining about, we only have 10 people on staff total, but we're a mighty branch. We only have 3 field agents besides Jen, but they're all A rank. The Tamakoma branch is for the talented elite few. Okay, so they're all A rank. And obviously with Jen being the one with the black trigger, and that gets explained in this a little later on, so let me hurry up and get to it. And what Chica's she goes on to ask, I'm only asking because Jen brought it up. Have you gone to the other world, Miss Usama? And she's like, I have just once. It's like, and Chica goes on to ask, how do you decide who goes to the other side? Okay, and she goes on to explain that, well, there's a selection test among the A rank agents. The whole team gets to go, so I was able to tag along. And what we see here, we see a chart. It's like a pyramid chart. You have the A at the top, B in the middle, and C, and it goes on from there. In the elite, hold on, let me enlarge this. And what we have here is that the A rank elite about 30 people, B rank about 100 people, and that's the only thing that's visible so far. And so we go continue on the conversation is that Jim picks it up and he's like, well, um, so go ahead, call your parents and spend the night. The people from headquarters won't come after you here. Plus, there's plenty of room. Okay, so Yuma and the guinea pig are friends now. Is man, I can't get over how big that guinea pig is. I'm sorry, but it's like a. Can you imagine if you walked outside and saw a huge guinea pig the size of a dog? I mean, yeah, man. Okay. Um. Okay. So Jen takes them in to go in to see his boss, and so he goes on to ask, "Are you Mr. Cougar's son?" He's like, "Yeah, nice to meet you." And he's like, "Likewise." So Cougar's just trying. All of this is new, and he's just being very, very reserved and cautious about the whole thing. It's like Jin and Mukinu told me about you. We don't want to capture you. Tell me one thing. You came to see your dad's friend, right? Do you know his name? And it goes on to say that the name is Soichi Mogoma. That's his friend. That's his dad's friend's name. And there's a look between Jin in his boss, excuse me, because I forgot his name at the moment. And he's like, okay, I see, it was Mr. Mogami. He was he was one of Borders' founding members. Soichi Moguma was your dad's rival and Jin's mentor. And what we see here is that Jin pulls out his trigger, his black trigger. And obviously we got the explanation that when a person with extremely high trion levels, they die, they put their soul into that trigger, which is what, helps turn it, which is what turns it black. You have to be a very, just, let's just say top tier, top tier. And he goes on to say that Jin's trigger is Mr. Mogoma. And it goes on to say that he died about 5 years ago. He left this behind. He's like, I see. Okay, so he picked it up and said if he were alive, he would have shielded you from headquarters. Mr. Cougar took care of me when I was a rookie. I'd like to repay that favor. If you join, I could openly protect you. I could confront headquarters actions. What do you say? Won't you join the Tamakoma branch? Well, and his answer is we go on to the next room, and he's like, hold on, excuse me, one moment. One moment. Okay, and Mukino is talking to Replica here. They're having a conversation, and he goes on to say that I thought it would be a good deal for him. Why did he refuse? And Replica doesn't say anything. He's like, okay, and we see is Jin and Yuma, they're talking. He's like, sorry, Jin. After you invited me here and everything, and Jin is like, it's okay. It's up to you. Do you do what you think is best? But first, tell me about you and your dad. And then we see Replica goes on and begins talking to Makino. It's like, okay, I should tell you, Asuma, the real reason why Yuma came to this world. And that right there is the end of the chapter. Like I said, the story is progressing along nicely. We have the answer as to how Jin got his black trigger as well. And like I said, since we know how they're made, and I think that's a key also that both, since Yuma's dad and his friend were both founding members of Border, and obviously they were both exceptional top tier, and they had extremely high levels of Tryon, and they went ahead and once they died, put their life into that trigger, and which makes them black and which makes a black trigger that much more, which is why basically everybody wants them, and which is why they're going to try and attack him with 4 teams of A-rank agents, to take that black trigger. And so we're going to next week is going to go into why Yuma, what's his real reason, what he really wants, and Yuma's going to tell Jin about him and his dad, and we also know that this Mr. Mogami was Jin's mentor, and so it's a correlation there between all of them, and definitely look for that to play a part in any kind of future conflict or anything, because like he said, obviously they definitely want to look out for him, and their branch is different from everybody else's branch. They're the exception. They're pretty much more. They're a lot laid back. They're cool. They go. They don't. They're not this hard. They don't have a hardline stance against. And just well, it's my way or the highway, basically. So, yeah, that's basically it. I hope everybody is enjoying this series. And if you're enjoying this series, definitely please support it when it does become available to buy. The volume should be coming up. And I'm running close out of time here, so enjoy the rest of your week and take